Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It is time for another Underdog. But who is our underdog today? Robert knows the answer.
Yes, well, it's a very exciting game I'm gonna show you as well. Everybody is following the World Chess Championship match 2024, but other guys they are actually already trying to qualify for the next part of the
Yeah.
cycle. So there is this FIDE circuit in which players are trying to gain points to qualify for the Candidates Tournament 2026. And two players are basically in the race. It's Fabiano Caruana and Arjun Erigaisi. And both are playing actually quite a lot of tournaments before the end of the year to collect more of these points. So Fabiano Caruana is playing two tournaments in the US.
Mhm.
And the first tournament he played is the US Chess Masters in Charlotte.
Ah, yeah,
And
yeah.
yeah, it's a really tough schedule because it's like 9 games in 5 days, so with double rounds. I
Oh,
don't think that's what most top players are accustomed to
jeez.
nowadays. And well, the interesting thing is that we are jumping into the action in round six, as Fabi is on 5 out of 5, and he's playing against a very strong grandmaster from Greece, Nikolas Theodorou. He's also on 5 out of
Yes.
5. And the question is, who is going to do a Caruana? If you remember the famous seven game streak Fabi had a couple of years ago at the St. Louis
Oh.
Singfield Cup. Um,
Well, since
yeah,
this
so
is a show about the underdog, I doubt it is going to be Mr. Caruana
Well,
himself.
Caruana is involved. Well, I will tell you more about it. Yeah. So yeah, it's very interesting game. Relatively a short time control, 90 minutes plus 30 seconds per move, and no additional time after move 40. So
Mhm.
a lot of spectacular things are going to happen in this game.
I quickly need to mention, of course, Nikolas Theodorou rings a bell for me since I am quite avid in the bullet chess scene after all, and Nikolas Theodorou is considered to be one of the top 20 bullet players in the world. So he's
Right,
always
right.
up there. He has like in several online chess spheres, he has a rating of 3,200 plus or something, or 3,100 or so. Yeah, that's what I know about Nikolas Theodorou.
Right.
Quick,
Okay.
quick tactical pattern recognizer and thinker.
Well, let's see if it works out his bullet skills also in a classical game. So yeah, Fabi is playing with white. So here we go. One c4,
Hmm.
knight f6, knight c3, English opening. And after e5, knight f3, knight c6, it's the four knights English. White does have a lot of different options here. But Fabi played here this move, a3. And that is something
Hmm.
which also rings a bell for me. As a couple of weeks ago, I was playing at the European Club Cup against also top grandmaster Dimitri Andreiking, rated over 2700. He played this move against me. And I was like, what I'm doing here? I have no idea what this line is about. And well, I played here this move g6, which is playable. It's not a main move, but we got an interesting game. But I got crushed, so therefore it was not the right game to pick as a topic for our underdog show. But Teodoro goes for the main move d5, just opening up the center, aiming for quick development.
Hmm.
Pawn takes, knight takes, queen c2. This is all pretty standard. And now, interesting move as black takes on c3, giving white the possibility to recapture towards the center. So, positionally speaking, this may look a bit risky for black, as white has chances later to occupy the center. But on the other hand, black is rock solid, and with the pawn on e5. Black does have actually quite a little edge regarding space. G3, castling, bishop G2. Queen E7 looks like a reasonable move. In an earlier game of Fabi, Alireza Firouzja played here Rook E8 against him. So Fabi must have studied this sort of structures before. But Queen E7 does make sense as well. D3, Bishop G4. Actually, around this point, for some reason, Fabi was already up half an hour on the clock, which is quite
Oof.
remarkable because not too many things have happened. But yeah, talking from my own experience, if you're ending up in a line you're not familiar with, you start to think, okay, how should I coordinate my pieces? And probably that's also how Theodoro felt. Like there are many possibilities, but what is the most precise? And before you realize it, you're down half an hour on the clock.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I think it's an interesting moment here. As when I'm looking at this position, I would expect white just to castle. I think that's the most natural way of playing.
Yeah,
But
this is the only two things are the bishop on c1 and the castling. That's the only thing which like point out that to finish the opening sequence, kind of, right?
good point. I think the reason why Black played this move Queen E7 earlier is to keep an eye on that pawn on A3,
Uh-huh.
so making it harder for the bishop to develop an
Yeah.
active square. Let's see what's going to happen in this middle game. H3, kicking the bishop away. Bishop back to D7. Now white castle, but you never know. I mean, all these pawn moves in front of the king, it can become quite vulnerable. B6, taking away potential pressure down the B file at some point. But now white is going to occupy the center with E4. Black played F6. Interesting move. May look not super active, but it does make sense to overprotect the pawn on E5 so that later on your other pieces they can easily move around. White played D4. So here you get this first interaction in the center. And well, there are different ways of playing for both sides. But what you have to understand is that these pawns, although they look quite impressive, it's not easy for white to really dominate the center. I mean, black is controlling the e5 square. And well, black played here this move queen f7, which is one of the main points of placing the pawn on f6.
Hmm.
After bishop e3, black even played king h8. Subtle move getting out of the diagonal. I mean, I'm also not familiar with all the ins and outs of it, but white played a4, rook 88, bringing the rook to the center, rook fe1. And now next move I do like quite a bit. It is knight a5. As the knight on c6 was not doing too much, but it's heading for the c4 square, trying to put pressure on this bishop. So white goes back with a knight to d2. And now it's black actually who starts to overtake the initiative here with this move queen h5, putting pressure against the pawn on h3. And okay, white has a nice center, but also quite some responsibility to keep all the pawns well protected. And well, how to deal with that pawn on h3? I
How,
was thinking maybe a move like king h2
yeah, that's what I thought as well. King
but
h2 looks very sensible.
the drawback of this move, though, is that you can never really go g4 later because it will just be taken by the bishop
Hmm.
as the h pawn is pinned. So anyway, it does look like black is quite comfortable here with his queen and bishop directed at the pawn on h3. So Fabi played here the move g4, attacking the queen, but with these pawn moves, you're not really gaining time. The queen happily goes back to f7, and then you have your pawn on g4. So I'm not sure what white is doing. It's really great. Fabi went here for queen a2. So this does make sense. You grab space with your pawns. You're playing very ambitiously, but you really want to exchange queens here as white. As let's say if queens are coming off the board, your king will feel much more secure.
Yeah.
And you probably have ideas here to march forward, maybe go bishop f1, play knight c4, trade off this knight so you can push your a pawn. So white can build up some pressure on that side of the board. But black is not going to cooperate. Black didn't take on a2, played here bishop e6, attacking the queen and gaining more control over the light square. So if queen goes away, then probably the knight will jump into to c4, for instance. Now white releases the tension by advancing the pawn. d5.
Second advancement like this.
Mhm. Bishop d7. And now knight c4. So you can see what white is playing for. Now after the exchange of knights, at least you have some sort of potential pawn break with a5. But
Hmm.
question for you, Arne, and the viewers, of course. What are you going to play here as black?
Hmm. Yeah, that is a good question. So now we have both bishop pairs on both sides. Can we? Who has a better advantage? It's hard to tell. Well, there might be. I have a super crazy idea, of course.
Uh-oh.
But I think maybe not. But still, so I'm thinking about h5. The reason
I
is
like it. I like it.
we can attack the g pawn. We can also gain a bit more space because on the queen side we cannot do that much as black, and I
True.
think it looks interesting, but it has to be calculated.
H5 is a very nice move. I think if you're an aggressive player, you look at a move like H5. If you're afraid white is going to do something on the queen side, maybe you're going to play A5 here yourself as
Yeah,
black.
that makes
Try
sense.
to lock up that part of the board. But I'm a big fan of grabbing the initiative with the move H5. Very, very nice move. And okay, there's pressure against the pawn on G4 now. And white dropped back with the queen to E2 to overprotect that pawn.
Wait, that happened?
This happened in the game. Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
like
yeah.
play like a grandmaster. Wonderful.
No, yeah, of course. You will get there one day. G6, and remarkable move G6. But what do you think is the idea of it? Can you understand why did black play here this move G6?
Maybe to get the queen on the H file. Maybe
That could
to
be one idea,
give
right?
the king a bit more luft.
Yeah. And well, there are even other ideas. Let's say
Ah,
this didn't happen in the game. If white is going to play something like A5, I think black really wanted to take on G4 and then move the king away so that you're able to build
yeah,
up an attack via the H file.
that makes a lot of sense as well. Yeah.
That looks incredibly dangerous because the H file is really difficult to defend for white. So yeah, that's probably the idea behind G6. Now Fabi didn't fancy these prospects and decided here to take on H5. But to be honest, I'm not really enthusiastic about this move. I really don't like opening up the G file, especially because black is almost ready to bring his major forces over there.
Yeah.
White played here King H1 to anticipate potential threats. Now both sides are bringing their rooks to the G file. And now look at another very, very interesting move. Queen H7. This queen, what is it doing here? Have you any idea? This is very deep. I
So
really
yeah,
like what Theodorou is
but
doing here.
but I'm happy that it actually happened because this was one of the main ideas after G6 to get the queen over there. So
Yeah, but you
yeah,
would probably do it with an open H file, not
yeah.
with
So
there.
there's of course a tactical idea which I see immediately, which is taking on H3 with the bishop.
Uh-huh.
If the it's not working.
Yeah.
Damn it! There is of
But
course F3 in between, but something like that might we have to build it up a bit better.
there are tactical ideas based on deflecting the bishop.
Yeah,
Probably they're not working yet. But
yeah, we have
look
to
at
build
this.
it up a little bit more. So
Well, there's even a different idea. After Rook AF1, for me, the most spectacular move of the game is going to be played now. Can you find it?
is that so? So are we just taking the bishop, or is it
Actually,
too
could
insane?
be interesting, but I'm not sure it's going to win though, because you're trading off also one of your best attacking pieces yourself.
Yeah, I see. Pooh. What could it be? No, I don't know yet.
Use your imagination. You would like to have an open H file, right?
That
So
would
that
be.
the king could be in trouble.
Oh, thank you. Okay, well that of course gave it away, but that is very nice. And you told it earlier. The hint for you at home, have you found it? It's probably bishop to g4,
Not a bad move. Not a bad
or
move.
is
This
it
also
even the
plays.
rook to g4?
Yeah. He
Oh
plays the
wow,
rook on G4.
to double up.
Remarkable idea. Yeah, the rook cannot be taken because of H takes G4, and it will lead to checkmate. So that is not possible. And well, at this point, players, Fabi had 8 minutes left on the clock.
Oh,
Theodorou, who was half an hour down on the clock out of the opening, has now 28 minutes. So that's also very remarkable. Yeah, how things can change during a game. And
mhm.
it's clear that Fabi is losing grip on his position as Black is about to get the other rook involved as well. Now, if White is playing very stubbornly, he probably should still be able to consolidate with remarkable move King H2. This was not played by Fabi. It's a very difficult move to find. But the main point is that actually, if you try to get your rook involved, you can take on g4
And
so that the
escape.
king can go to g3 and it's no longer checkmate.
Wow.
Even after this, there are still absolutely insane lines. We should not go too deep into that. But yeah, apparently King H2 is a good move. But Fabi,
Yeah, I just quickly have to mention you at home, of course, but you can see the whole game in the Chess Base article. You can replay the variations there. Check it out for yourself. If Robert mentioned that, that is worth checking out. Sorry. So keep
yeah,
on.
makes sense. That's good. White played here this move f3. Almost instantly, Fabi made this move, and to be honest, it's a very understandable move as you're attacking the rook one more time, and you're trying to connect your queen with the king side.
See,
But
okay.
it really does weaken more White's position. And now, look at this: rook to g3.
That's what I thought.
Beautiful, beautiful square for the rook, intending to simply take on h3 very soon. White played h4. Other rook comes over to g8. I cannot recall having seen Fabi in such a position that frequently. It looks absolutely disgusting what he has been doing here. He is not putting any pressure on Black's pieces. King h2 played. And now the question is, of course, how is Black going to break through? There are various options. I felt that the move chosen by Theodorou is quite interesting and instructive, but perhaps not the best. Do you have any idea of how would you like to attack the weakest point in White's position? What
I'm
do you
trying.
think?
Yeah, I'm trying to calculate what happens, but that is too insane again. But still have to calculate it nonetheless. After rook g4.
Again?
Yeah, once again, exactly. Which, but the other rook maybe.
Well, the problem is
No,
with
it's
that
not
rook.
working.
I'm
No,
I'm
it's not
just going to
working.
take it,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then your rook on g3 will no longer
No,
be
it has to be our the first rook, of course. But the question is, do you even have to take? I wonder if
You want to use the other rook, you mean? Yeah, then I
yeah,
take it anyway.
we take back with the pawn,
Yeah, and probably I
and that
can
the king
even
escapes.
defend with king here.
Yeah, it just takes too long, right? Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. No, no, sorry. Okay, pardon. Um, what else could we do?
It would really help to determine first what is the weak point.
Ah, yeah. So I'm seeing one more plan, and then if it's not that, then we give it away. But how about bishop c8?
Bishop c8. Wow, your idea is to bring the queen over to d7, or
Yes.
it's actually quite an interesting move as you're setting up a mating threat on h3. Not a bad plan at all. I think maybe White has time here to challenge the rook on
Yeah,
f2.
it has to be more dynamic, I think. So,
Yeah.
but that was interesting anyway. Yeah,
Okay.
but what is it?
What is interesting here is to put queen on e7 with the idea to prepare f5 and
Ah,
hit the pawn on h4.
that's great.
I think it's a very nice and simple line. But the move chosen in the game is bishop c5, which is anti-positional. But you're trading off White's most important defender because dark squared bishops will come off the board. If White moves the bishop away, rook on g1 is hanging.
Okay.
So bishop takes bishop, pawn takes back. And now, especially the f4 square has been weakened. So imagine a queen can come there. That would be huge news. But queen f2 played. And there are ideas maybe for White to trade off queen for the two rooks. So Black played here the move queen g6. And well, it does look like everything is still under control. But there followed here this move a5. And this is in fact critical moment in the game. Both players down to 4 minutes for the rest of the game with 30 seconds increment only.
How many moves to go?
Well, no additional time after move 40.
But which move are they in? I mean,
They are move 34.
34. Okay. Wow.
Yeah. But you know, for the rest of the game, you're down to 4 minutes. You have to play this position with. I think it's really difficult to play this
And out of a sudden, the
as
bullet
white.
skills are kicking in.
Yeah, that it could be a huge advantage, of course, at this point. Now, it's really remarkable what happens as both players made huge blunders here.
Okay.
What would you play here with black? Any idea? Make a wild guess.
Okay, so what about let's play G5, I guess.
F5, you mean, or?
F5, pardon. Gosh.
Yeah,
F5.
you have the same bullet skills as Theodorou. That is just a really, really bad move. Um, I will
I
show you
wish.
I will
wish
show you
I
what
had
happens. Yeah. Here, Fabi instantly captured the pawn, which is also a really bad move. But there is one way to defend here as white. How
Okay.
to untangle yourself here.
Poof, how to entangle yourself? You play F4?
No,
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 it
no,
doesn't
no,
work
no,
at
no.
all. How? What can there be?
With this pawn on F5, the bishop not temporarily doesn't function on this diagonal.
Yeah. Oh, so bishop H3.
Exactly, bishop
Oh,
h3. This is the moment to
that's
consolidate your
hard
position,
to
to
see. Yeah.
initiate the exchange of major pieces. Look, if everything is going to be exchanged here, then all of a sudden you have a bishop endgame, and that is not good news for
No.
for black. The pawn on f5 is gonna drop, so that doesn't work. Also, the tactics are not really working here. If you take on h3, you can just take with the king. Rook is sufficiently defended, even if you advance the pawn. You go back with the king, and there are no mating threats.
Oh
And
boy.
another big thing here is that if you do advance the pawn to f4 to protect your rook, well, you don't take the rook, you take the bishop on d7, and there's no way to make progress.
Oops.
Yeah, really,
Oh,
really surprising that this was not played by a world-class player. I mean, under pressure, people make strange decisions, but I don't think it was too difficult to find. But with a double round schedule, I mean, I've played worse moves also, so it's in a way understandable.
yeah.
Look what happened. Pawn takes f5, queen takes f5, and now you do have the same battery as you mentioned before. Queen and bishop are eyeing the h3 square.
Nice
So after a random
checkmate
move,
threat.
it's the checkmating threat you looked at already. But what happens after queen takes g3, rook takes g3, king takes g3? It's an endgame, queen versus two rooks.
Okay.
How to evaluate it?
Well, that's clearly, it has to be better for black because black will at least get one or two more pawns now, in my
Exactly.
opinion, and that they're so advanced too. We just have to be careful to, yeah, but then there's the bishop, so even H5 can be protected well enough. Yeah, I think black is clearly better here.
Yeah. Black is actually completely winning even.
Yeah.
So it's always important to remember that rooks, they need to really work together. They're connected, but they don't have active targets. And another important feature is the exposed king. So here black keeps giving checks, queen f4, king f2, check on d2.
Ah, he doesn't take even, yeah.
Yeah, well, look, he repeated moves probably to gain a bit of time here, and then he captured the pawn on a4 with check, king e3, queen f4. Now it's important that you cannot go back to e2 because of which move?
Bishop check.
Bishop b5 check, and the rook on f1 will be gone, so the king has to go back instead to f2 again. Queen d2, king g3. So basically same position here, just with without the pawn on h4, which means that the move h4 can be played, which is a nice idea. With the point that if you do take with a king,
Oh
there
God,
is
that's mate.
queen f4, king h5, and bishop e8 is checkmate indeed. So you can't do that. King has to go back to h2. There are actually a number of moves, but here queen f4 was played, king h1, h3, and also the bishop is trapped. Well, the game continued for a few more moves, but the result was never in doubt. Bishop f5, rook b8, king h7. You cannot move the bishop away. If you keep the bishop, then the pawn on f3 will be hanging. King h2, queen f2 check, and if you go back, there is bishop e4 with mate to come.
Brutal.
So instead, rook f8 was tried. One last funny thing here in the game: bishop was taken, rook takes g2, and now very important move, queen c1 check. So here is the moment in the game where white resigned. As if you go with your king to h2, you go queen h6, check, and the rook will be hanging. And the trick is that if you would have given check on h6 immediately, there would still have been rook h2.
That would have been brutal, yeah. But
Yeah,
there's
well,
bishop-
actually not
yeah.
not too brutal because
bishop
there's
can
still
go in
bishop
between,
h3,
yeah.
but it's not the move you want to play. I think queen c1 is a very clean finish,
Sure.
and whatever you do, there's always queen h6. So, yeah, that was quite remarkable victory for Theodorou, and well, even more remarkable the way Fabi lost a crucial game in this tournament. But after it, he managed to win his remaining games, ending up on 8 out of 9, winning even some rating points. And more importantly for him, collecting also these points for the FIDE circuit. So it's going to be a very tight race. And there's only one more month to go. Who's going to qualify directly for the next candidates event. So yeah, very, very interesting game. And
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Quite fascinating. That was fun to look at. Thank you for your analysis once again, Robert. That was the underdog, Nikolas Theodorou.
Yeah.
But as we already had, it's not the first time that Caruana is on our show. There's almost nobody who's not an underdog against him.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, but it also shows that Theodorou played his own game. He was even not familiar with the opening, but he placed his pieces, and whenever he got a chance, he smelled some blood trying to make provocative moves. Fabi well accepted it, and then Fabi was suffering with his king's position for the entire game. So strange things can happen.
Indeed. Thank you so much, Robert. Thank you, everybody, for watching. We see each other next year, right?
Let's do that.
That's it. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.